Hi Swantje, thanks for joining us today. We're here to talk about cybersecurity and the growing need for that, and the NIS2 directive which comes with that. So first of all, could you please tell us a bit about yourself and Viccon, and what are you doing in the space of compliance and cybersecurity, and maybe give us some customers you're already working with in that space?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. Well, I'm Swantje Westphal from Viccon. Our consultancy company is focused on information security management consulting and business continuity management consulting. And that's the whole building up information security in companies, but also cybersecurity. So our focus is always really understanding the needs, the cybersecurity needs, the IT security needs, and bridging the gaps. And yeah, myself, I'm the director of the company, I'm the CEO. But we're also working with international organizations, and the NIS2 directive really is a focus point in our work right now because it changes so many things in compliance. We help customers being compliant with the NIS2, with other regulations. So we know the needs, and basically customers we work with are mainly from critical infrastructures, but also small and medium enterprises and everything who is falling under the regulation, basically.
All right, cool. So can you tell us a bit more about the NIS2 initiative itself? I guess maybe some people do not really know what that means, so if you could give us some details on that, that would be great.
Absolutely. So it's a regulation, it's a directive coming from the European Union. The European Commission set out a directive which needs to be adopted and done into national law by member states. So actually this directive is going to look a little different in all the member states. The idea is basically, if you want to think so, to protect our societies from cyber attacks and from having cyber attacks which would have a huge impact on our society as a whole. So if you look at the directive, it actually focuses and targets organizations which are somehow responsible in our social ecosystem. So everything which has to do with clean water, with transport of goods, with anything which we need to nurture ourselves. So anything also within the healthcare system. Think about everything which you would miss, which our society gives us in order to live with each other. And this falls under the directive, under the assumption that we might be targeted by cyber attacks. And these companies, if they're targeted by cyber attacks, could have an impact on many other companies as well, and on citizens. So it could have cascading effects. And this is why the NIS2 directive set out good tasks, a good number of tasks which need to be fulfilled in order to be cyber secure. It's basic cyber hygiene. It's basically everything which counts as, I think, the basic needs for IT security, but also information security.
All right. So you basically answered already the next logical questions which popped into my mind. But I guess if there's an NIS2 initiative directive now, so was there an NIS1 directive before?
Yes.
And how these two differ from each other?
Well, mainly the NIS1 already targeted a lot of critical infrastructures, but it was still less huge in its impact, I'd say. What we have with the new directive is also not only IT security. The NIS1 was still very focused on IT security, but the idea of the NIS2 really is to move from IT security risks to business security risks. So this is one key element which has changed and which is really, really important if you want to understand that directive. That the whole idea is to really see the business as a whole and its vulnerabilities and understanding the risks associated with that, and that particularly in the realm of how does that business interrelate with other businesses, so the business continuity, and with the supply chain.
Okay. So basically, it's like if we look at the sectors who need to comply with that, you mentioned a couple of those already. So is that wider impact now with the NIS2 initiative, and like more sectors have to comply with that directive?
Yes, I mean, I don't tell you the whole list now, right? I think we'll have that in the subtext somewhere so people can read it. But yes, basically the list has been so much longer because we figured it's not just energy, which is and telecommunication, which are kind of the closest guess, right? We need energy for a lot of other things, so they would be in the focus, and they have been in the focus of NIS1 as well. But there's also, we need the healthcare, we need food and beverage, we need to have water and wastewater. So there are a lot of sectors targeted now, which is a little wider than before, but generally, really think of a blackout, for example. Think what you would miss in a blackout over the days and nights. Yeah. And then pretty much you get every sector you need.
All right, and with that, the requirements on those companies to comply with that directive, what are the main requirements they need to put in place? I guess like IT security measures, etc. But what else they have to address in order to comply with the directive?
I think the first and foremost requirement is understanding your risks. Okay. This is really what it comes down to. Understand your risks. And understand them in terms of IT risks, but also in terms of business risks. So also reputation, also understand how you're interrelated to other companies, other organizations, the supply chain, and have a good understanding of who is doing what in your company, because the business continuity management is not just about business continuity in terms of having a cyber attack, but also if there's people ill, a sickness, a pandemic situation, or there's a loss of energy somewhere, or if you have a fire. So it's various scenarios, and it's not just the cyber approach.
Okay. So when I look at that from a company perspective, I guess it's a huge thing they need to comply with, and they need to get that implemented, right? What would be the logical first steps in order to start that journey, basically, to comply with NIS2?
I always advise companies to first look at what's there already. Because usually any company really has a good feeling and a good idea of what are the core processes in my business, what do I make money with, and really have a good look at those and understand those through a business impact analysis, and then start from there assessing your risks. And in most cases you already have fantastic people working for you who already think about IT security and information security. And start talking to these people and see what's already there and whether you can build on that, and then understanding the gap, what is still needed, and then make a business plan, make a plan with regards to the most severe business risks.
Okay. And so if an incident occurs, basically, like as far as it is currently set up, it's like they need to report it to a national authority as well as the European authority. That seems like a significant workload, right? Or like a significant impact. So how can they manage that? What is the rationale behind that?
Well, the rationale behind that is once we see clusters of cyber attacks, we can warn others, right? So the whole idea is to have an early warning system, to really share information which is valuable and have that information shared to the authorities, so the authorities can then share it with similar organizations who they might have from some previous exchanges know that they have the same firewalls. Let's say just one incident, one firewall was attacked because it has a vulnerability, so they can warn everyone using that firewall. That's the idea, to minimize the impact. And also to understand these incident notifications. So we have a scheme that within 24 hours you have to give to your authorities a notification that something has happened. A major incident was there. The authorities need to understand how many of this type of company are affected. Let's say if all the hospitals in one region are affected, the authorities quickly need to react and need to get doctors in place and need to send them in. If it's only one hospital, well, patients can go to the other hospitals. If they get the notification from several, they need to act. And this is why the authorities really need to know and need to know quickly that they should do something about that.
Okay. So I guess that's where the place where tech could play a role, right? So it's like, how could a software help to mitigate these risks and notify the authorities and making sure that you're complying with the directive itself?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly where technologies and software can help. Understanding your risks is, first of all, obviously you need to sit down and talk about it and really find out in the process of where's your risks. But there's also a lot of risks you can assess via software, and it helps you with making the risks visible and understandable. And the communication about risks is always a tricky one because everybody has a different risk appetite. But if you have a clear way of showcasing this, then you have a much better overview. And especially now that we have the task not only to assess the risk for ourselves, but also for our supply chain, this makes it much more tricky. And having that, a software which actually can help you understanding the risks associated with your supply chain, and also have a software which can help you in the notification process, because you need to, obviously, if you're affected, it will help all the organizations you're in contact with to know that you're affected, so they can quickly block your emails, for example, so they don't get the same virus as well.
Okay. I mean, on that note, I guess we have great news for the audience, right? So Savians and Viccon, we're developing a software solution together, NIS2, the tool itself. So can you give us an update on that? Where do we stand, and like what is the plan there, and what would be included in that type of solution?
So that solution is really tailored for addressing the supply chain risks, understanding your supply chain risks, and in this way really helping to be compliant with NIS2, because that is a tricky part many companies didn't really fulfill yet in their information security management systems. So it's a good solution, especially if you already use Sapiens for other compliance tools. You already have a good list of all your supply chain in there, and then you can just transfer that knowledge and have a good visibility of who might be in my supply chain, where do I need to take a closer look. And that really, again, helps you understanding your business continuity management, because there might be some suppliers you're really reliant on. And if they are just blacked out by a cyber attack, what do you do? So it doesn't cripple your business. So you need emergency plans here. And the software really helps you to understand where are the cybersecurity risks within my supply chain. How can I understand how well my supply chain is prepared in order to be prepared myself and addressing these risks accordingly?
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for that, and thanks a lot for your time, Swantje. I guess we're all looking forward for the solution to come, and I wish you a great day.
Thank you.